Instagram. It's another free social media app where you can share photos and videos with your friends and your followers, and they can like and post comments for you. It's owned by Facebook, but it's more popular among users ages 34 and younger. Now, over the past 10 years of its existence, Instagram has grown to have over 1 billion users. Now, I'm not about to rattle off a bunch of numbers, but here are a few that you should know as a fellow business owner. An estimated 75.3% of U.S. businesses are going to be on Instagram by the end of 2020. Over 200 million people on Instagram visit at least one business profile daily, and 1/3 of the most viewed stories on Instagram are from businesses. Now, those numbers should help you to see that Instagram can help you grow your business by getting in front of more people and making real connections with them. But just being on Instagram is not enough, and you've probably been frustrated trying to figure out how to make it work for you, right? Not to mention, you can end up losing track of time if you aren't careful, which definitely is counterproductive. So the question comes up then, well, how can you use Instagram effectively to market your business as a busy mompreneur? Well, that's what we're going to chat about today with Allison Scholes, the boss lady in sweatpants. Not only is Allison one of my coffee buddies, but she is a fellow lady podcaster and Instagram branding coach who helps mompreneurs build their Instagram presence through coaching, creative copy, and content. Allison is the host of the Social Media for Mompreneurs podcast, where she gets to show off her sassy and fun personality in her weekly episodes that help busy moms build their brand online in the mom cracks of time. Now, through her course, the Social Brand Accelerator, Allison helps women create a crystal clear, strong Instagram identity that drives engagement, gets you leads, and increases your profit. In other words, no more spinning your wheels on Instagram, but you start to get results. So the wait is over. Let's dive into my chat with Allison, which is episode number 39. Welcome back to the More Than Capable Mompreneur podcast. I'm Shannon Baker, a coffee-loving mompreneur that started as a virtual assistant and turned into a total systems geek. And I want to help you shift your mindset and embrace your worthiness while creating systems in your business so you can be more productive and build success on your own terms without the mom guilt. Are you loving that? Well, I hope you're ready for real conversations that will help you beat the perfectionist inside, rediscover your strengths, and up-level your self-love in the mom cracks of time so you can stop letting fear hold you back, because you are enough and you do enough. We are more than capable mompreneurs. So grab your cup of coffee, some sparkling water, or pour a glass of your favorite wine, and let's dive in. Well, I'm so excited. I have my coffee buddy, Allison Scholes, aka the boss lady in sweatpants, on this episode. So before we dive in and talk about Instagram and saving some time with all the options that are available right now to help us build our brand, tell us a little bit about your family and your journey that brought you to where you are today.
Well, Shannon, thanks for having me on your show. And yes, we are coffee buddies, so I just love that we have that connection. But yeah, so a little bit about me. I have 2 kids, and they're actually teenagers now, but my journey started, maybe 4 to 5 years ago, where I was transitioning from corporate to teaching, because I always knew in my heart that I wanted to be present for my kids, and I didn't want to be stuck in a 9-to-5 job. So I thought teaching would be the answer. And I didn't realize how hard teaching really is. And oh my gosh, the teachers in the world, I highly value everything that you do for our kids. And I always had an attraction to the online space and websites and design and blogging. So I initially started out with bossladyinsweatpants.com, and I really thought I was going to be like a mompreneur blog. And it just kind of evolved into teaching other moms how to use social media. And then it went even deeper than that, and it kind of just transformed into Instagram. And that's when I really started teaching Instagram, teaching cool design hacks, how to lay out the grid. And then I launched my podcast, Social Media for Mompreneurs, over a year ago. And that's really now my biggest platform on how to teach social media and how to help mamas grow their brand, grow their presence online. Through the podcast, I help them use Instagram, and I help them through my one-on-one coaching. So it's been a journey. It has many ups and downs. It's never a straight line. I've had epic fails. I've had epic pivots, and I'm just going to keep going.
And I must say, I mean, I've seen your, I guess, evolution or transformation over especially the past year since you've launched your podcast. And it's been really amazing to see you narrow down and really focus into your one-on-one services, which at first I know wasn't something that was on the docket for you to do, or you hadn't even thought about it.
Right.
But you're amazing. I've listened to your coaching calls on your podcast, and they're totally awesome and really helpful for someone, whether you're just starting out on Instagram, pivoting in your business as both of us have done, or if you just want to refine what you're doing on Instagram, which is what we're going to talk about today, because it's not easy, but it's worth the effort if you really wanted to pay off for your business and to build your brand. So what do you think is really important when it comes to building a brand on Instagram?
I think the number one importance is understanding your approach to Instagram. So I know this from my own experience, and I think all of us have got on the platform in the beginning with the intention to put our products and services out there, try to get as many followers as we can and make the sales. I think at one point everyone has that thought process when it comes to Instagram, but it took time after time to realize that Instagram truly is not a sales platform. Can you make sales on Instagram? Absolutely. But in the beginning, it's really a relationship building platform, and it's the gateway or the vessel to the know, like, and trust. And in reality, you need to be on Instagram understanding that it's about the long game. You're not just going to make a quick overnight connection, get the sale, and then close the doors. That's not how Instagram works. You need to show up, serve your audience, and have the intention to nurture them for a very long time, and then eventually move them off the platform and then over to your website or maybe your email list. So that's hands down number one. To be successful on Instagram, you need to understand how you're going to show up, your approach to Instagram and your mindset. And really, you need to show up with the intention of, I want to help, I want to serve, and not show up for your own vanity reasons, not just to make the sale. Because if you show up that way, it's not going to work, and you're going to get so frustrated with Instagram, and then you're not going to be consistent on the platform. And then to me, you're just leaving relationships, scattered, and you're leaving money on the table at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I'm glad you point that out, because I mean, we've talked about it in the kind of focus group on Instagram that we're in, some of people's approaches, which the way that they contact us through DMs or leaving their spammy comments on, our posts, it's like, that's not what Instagram is supposed to be. Like you said, it's to build a relationship for that know, like, and trust factor, but people just don't do it right. And then on the other end, they'll say, oh, well, this isn't working for me. It's not that it doesn't work. It's just the way that you're doing it. So you're going to help us with that today. So one of the questions I know a lot of people have, and even I wonder, as things keep coming out or Instagram keeps adding all these features to their platform, with all of the things that are available, like, where should someone start with using Instagram?
To start on Instagram, I think first you really need to identify your main Instagram objective. Why are you even on the platform? Ask yourself that question first. It could be, maybe you're just on the platform to build community. Maybe you're on there to build brand awareness. Maybe you really want to drive traffic to your website, or maybe your goal is to really grow your email list. So once you've identified your main Instagram objective, then you can start, that will help you generate the right content. Once you know your objective, then you're going to know what kind of content you need to be putting out there. And based on your target audience, we always need to keep that in mind. Who is your target audience and what do they want from you? That's going to determine how you show up. So for example, my target audience are busy moms who have a side gig or an MLM or a full service business, and they want to grow their presence on Instagram. So for me, I'm going to be consistent with valuable content in my newsfeed, but I know that they're moms and they are looking for a way to relate to me and they want to trust me. So I'm really going to show up in my stories and showcase my personality. So it really does depend on your Instagram objective. And once you identify that, then you create the categories and think, well, what's the best way to deliver this content? But just to kind of give you like a starting point to kind of open your eyes to Instagram, I look at it as like 3 main functions. And Instagram is really like your vessel to making those connections. So we'll start with the news feed. And your news feed is your opportunity to get people to know you. So it's really crucial if you want people to start to know you and have that almost open door access to you, you need to be posting consistently in your news feed. Now, if you want to go to the next level with them, because now they know you, but now you want to start building the know, like, and trust, you're going to use your news feed for them to get to know you. So it's important to be consistent with your posts, but you also want to be using Instagram stories. And that's where you get to be real and show off your personality. And that's when your followers, that's when your audience starts to really like you, because that's your opportunity to really show the person behind the brand, the person behind, for example, Boss Lady in Sweatpants, the person behind the Instagram coaching. You're going to see me in my stories with my Disney coffee mugs, my Loki t-shirts, my kids doing e-learning, and that's how I relate to my ideal audience. That's how I relate to my mom. So your Instagram stories is your opportunity for people to like you. Now, to get to the next level, the trust level, that's when you're going to start utilizing the DMs and IGTV. So when you're using IGTV, that's your opportunity to teach. That's simply how I use it. Teach something that's quick and your audience can implement almost immediately. And that's when you get to really build that brand authority in your niche. And that's when they really get to trust you. And then the way that I like to use the DMs is I am always responding and interacting with my audience through stories. And I don't see that enough. And let me tell you, the minute you comment on someone's story, a one-on-one DM is created. So you now have that one-on-one conversation between that person. And you always want to keep that going every so often. And that's where you build the ultimate trust. And that's where you go deeper with the connection. So use your newsfeed to build the know part, the know, like, and trust. Use stories for your audience to like you. And then your IGTV and the DMs is where people start to trust you. And that's really the ultimate purpose of Instagram, is going deep and making those Instagram connections that will ultimately lead to sales elsewhere.
Great. And I love your breakdown. It's simple. I'm a fan of 3s, so that's awesome. Someone may say, okay, that's great, but Allison, it's a lot. It's just too much. I know, like, that was me when we first met. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. I was thinking I have to post every day, and then I have to do stories, and then this, and that. And I'm the type of person, if I can't lay it out ahead of time and have a plan, I'm just not going to do it. Now I've learned from you. I've created my buckets for my content categories. I have my 3 pillars, and I created a plan that works for my lifestyle. I have 2 accounts on Instagram. I can't be on both of them every day. So I don't post every day, but I'm in stories every day. So consistency, talk a little bit about what's consistency, and is there, I know some people will say there is a rule we need to follow, and I'm a rule breaker, so that doesn't bother me anyway. But what would be your recommendation as far as determining how to be consistent in stories or IGTV and in your feed?
My easy answer is you define what is consistent for you and what you're comfortable with and confident. So there may be another Instagram guru out there that they are showing up twice a day in their feed, and they are doing 20 to 15 Instagram stories every single day. To me, that's crazy. But if it works for them and that's what their audience wants, then have at it. I think you really need to determine, what does consistency look like to you? And you also have to understand, what does your audience expect from you? For example, we're both podcasters. We pretty much release an episode every week. But all of a sudden, if we only did one episode a month, our audience would catch up on that and they'd be like, what's with Shannon or what's with Allison? They're not really dropping episodes consistently like they did. So your audience will eventually learn what your consistency pattern is. It's just your job to figure out what's comfortable for you from the get-go, stay consistent, and then you can always build on that later. And I always say, when it comes to Instagram, there's a lot on Instagram that you can do. You don't need to do it all. So if you're the type of person that you're like, I absolutely hate video, I'm not doing video, then don't do it. Start getting consistent where you feel comfortable. So if you're like, oh yeah, I can post 7 days a week in my newsfeed, and maybe I'll show up like once or twice in my stories, great. That is a great place to start. Get consistent where you're comfortable and then build on it. It's always, you're always building in Instagram. You're never going to have one plan and stick to that plan forever. I used to not really do IGTV for like the longest time because I really just wasn't into it. And then I finally made the decision, I am going to show up for my audience once a week in IGTV. And I've been doing that for about 6 weeks now. And I noticed that my audience is really enjoying the IGTVs. So it's almost like a trial and error. You're going to have to figure out, there's not one master rule for Instagram. You make the platform work for you and work for your audience. That's really the key. And I think too, on top of that, we have to be very careful of what content we consume. And I fell into this trap. I was consuming so much content on Instagram and about Instagram that I had so much going on in my head, and I was blinded by what other people were doing. And I thought, I need to do what they're doing. I need to show up like them. And at the end of the day, I realized that doesn't work. I'm going to be who I am, and I'm going to show up how my audience needs me. How someone else is running their business on Instagram doesn't mean you need to be doing that. It's always keeping your audience at the forefront of your mind and doing you. Just do you, and do it consistently, and do it with confidence.
And those are great tips, because it's so much pressure, like you said, when you're looking at, oh, so-and-so posts 7 days a week, like you said, or they're in stories every day and it's so good. But when you really look closely at their content, it's not necessarily always quality content. And then, recently everyone's hopped onto the Reels bandwagon. So we've had conversations, and I refuse to get on the bandwagon. I'm already at my bandwidth, ceiling with using Instagram as it is. I'm not learning something else. I tried it once for you, but that's it. But people feel so pressured because Reels are everywhere. But it's not something that we have to do just because it's available. So All you moms that are listening, understand you don't have to use every feature of Instagram just because it's available. Decide what works for you. Reels don't work for me. Really, they're starting to give me a headache. Everyone looks like moving clocks pointing. So it's driving me crazy. But if that's what you like and your audience likes it, go for it. But if you're not using it, don't feel pressured to use it just because it's popular right now. So that'll save you time too.
And to add to that, you should always be putting out content more than consuming content. So always have like real-time checks with yourself every so often and take a hard look on the inside and go, am I consuming too much content? Am I trying to be like other people? Am I really being authentic to who I am? Or am I really putting content out there? You always have to keep asking yourself and doing check-ins with yourself. And I still have to do it too. And Shannon, I know you've seen the recent, I can't say a rebrand, but I use a certain character, my favorite villain of all time, and like a light bulb moment went off in my head. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like, this is how I am going to present my Instagram content through this villain. And honestly, I was afraid to do that at first because I thought, this is not going to go over well. People are going to be like, what is she doing? And then I had to do a check-in and go, this is who I am. This is authentically me. I'm going to put it out there and I will repel some people. And that's just the reality of it because we're not for everybody. So if you are starting to repel people on Instagram through your content, then I would say you're doing a good job because you're niched and you're going to be attracting the right people.
And that's where having a strategy, like you said, and knowing what your objective is comes in, and you help people do that. So if you're struggling with Instagram and getting it together, get in touch with Allison and schedule your one-on-one strategy so she can help you get that in place. And you'll be surprised at how much easier it makes for you to really focus on providing quality content just because you know what you're supposed to be sharing with your audience. And that's a time saver. So I have totally enjoyed our conversation today, Allison. And before I let you go, though, and we wrap this up, I do have a question for you. So with all the new things you've put in place and all the existing things in your business, what is one system or a routine, whether it's business or life, that you can't live without other than your chip cup?
You got me on that one. I think for me, it's going to have to be my planner. And on top of the planner, I always have to identify 2 priorities a day. And that's all I do. I used to be that person of having the longest to-do list and trying to be super mom and put and get it all done. And I've learned that that is just not a way of life because I think all of us moms are either creating a business or a side hustle to either have more time freedom or financial freedom. But if we are packing our calendar of all these to-dos, then what is the point of running our business? How is it really making an impact, not only on the people we serve, but how are we making an impact on ourselves and our family? So for myself, it's my planner and sticking to only 2 priorities a day. And then I'm going to live my life.
I love it. You know, I am a total fan of planning, time blocking when you do your plan. And one thing we didn't talk about was your 10-10-10
Ooh.
time management. I love that. You use it. Shannon at Boutique Social DC, I learned it from her. You've emphasized it when it comes to using Instagram, because what I found we can do is block the time in our calendar, but then we ignore it and we're scrolling and consuming on Instagram. But set that timer for 10 minutes. And what I've learned from you to do is decide, is it 10 minutes I'm going to be engaging? Is it 10 minutes I'm doing hashtag research? Is it 10 minutes because I just posted? set a timer for 10 minutes, do that one task, because my motto is focus on one task at a time. That is really a time saver, so you don't spend, if you've got a 4-hour block of work and you don't spend 3 hours on Instagram and then find you've done really accomplished nothing you were supposed to that day.
Right. Right. And I think we've all been there at one time, but yeah, once you really get in the practice and the habit of setting those timers and just understanding that there's no way that you can cover everything in Instagram in one day.
Yes. And that's where being consistent every day does. If you don't get to something the day before, push it to the next day. No one knows but you, because you're the only one that had it written down. So
Exactly.
roll with it. So great. I have enjoyed this, and I'm a little jealous because at the time we're recording this, Allison is getting ready to have a adults weekend away with no kids. Wonderful. So I'm going to live vicariously through you this weekend. Now, before I let you go, though, where can we find you online?
You can find me, of course, on Instagram at Allison Scholes, or just head to my website, bossladyinsweatpants.com. I have freebies. I have my one-on-one coaching on there. And then, of course, for all Instagram, social media content, tips, strategies, check out my podcast, Social Media for Mompreneurs.
And I'm going to put a link to everything in the show notes, including your freebie, which I love, is your free captions. Those really trained me in how to post on Instagram so that it would engage my audience to respond back. So make sure you grab that copy and connect with Allison through the links in the show notes. Well, I want to thank you for tuning in today. I hope you enjoyed my chat with Allison and are confident that you can build your brand on Instagram without it taking too much of your time with the tips that she shared today. Now, if you would like 12 free caption templates that will help you grow your engagement on Instagram, there is a link in the show notes for you to grab a copy of Allison's freebie. Now, if you would like to check out Allison's podcast, learn more about her one-on-one coaching or her online course, the Social Brand Accelerator, links are also in the show notes. Now, if you enjoyed listening to the show and you can't wait to use one or more of the tips that Allison shared today, please take a screenshot, post it in Instagram stories, and tag me at the More Than Capable Mompreneur. And remember, you are more than enough. So until next time, keep calm and streamline.